Welcome to Your Parents' Attic, a podcast devoted to your childhood. If you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, I'm Glenn.
I'm Greg.
And today's episode is about something that everybody who listens to the show is very, very familiar with.
Yep.
Even today, you can still, go somewhere and get a DVD from either a box or a store, rent it, buy it, like Walmart retail stores. But back in the early 90s and in the late 80s, even the whole 90s.
Yeah, I would just say the whole 90s, really.
You were able to go to a Blockbuster or a movie rental place and, hey, take out that VHS or that DVD for a couple days and watch. And please be kind and rewind was a slogan that was used many, many times when it came to renting out VHS. And also that section where the covers were covered by a piece of white paper that you couldn't see from afar. And they had the 18 and over section.
Yeah, you had to go through the beaded curtain there
to get to that section. But we'll save that for the show. But yeah, this episode is about Blockbuster and movie rental places, video game rental places where you can go and get that VHS for the night and watch. And not only for Blockbuster, but also like here in Cleveland area, like Mark's, where you checked out. They had a wall of VHS.
Oh, Mark's! I didn't know Mark's had video rental. I don't go to Mark's.
Yeah, you can do. Back when I was a kid, I would check out all the horror movie. This is when the DVD, the VHS covers were actually cool.
Right. Yeah.
And you had like the skull that looked like a house, like stuff like that. And you check out.
You're talking about the movie House?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The one title that comes out and sticks out in my mind is So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Sure.
So that one was like the
Mike
movie,
Myers and Nancy Travis in front of a heart.
Yeah, that was like the prominent movie poster on the wall. I remember from the movie rental place. But yeah, Blockbuster.
I remember that.
It was great. It was great to see the movie titles. But like I said, hey, what are we gonna do tonight? Oh, let's go get a pizza and go get a movie from Blockbuster.
We're gonna make it a Blockbuster night.
Is that the slogan?
Yeah. That was their slogan. Make it a Blockbuster night.
So we're doing some research like we always do for our shows. Mm-hmm. Here in Northeast Ohio, Greg, you would say that there is a Blockbuster open, functional here in Northeast Ohio?
I could swear that it was.
People walking in and out.
Yeah.
Lights were on.
In Painesville, yeah.
But on their website, and we tried calling this place, the number's disconnected.
Yeah.
And we go on the website, there are no locations open. The wiki page, which you can't really always rely on, says there are still 13 stores still open in the United States. There's 8 in Alaska, 2 in Texas, and 3 in Oregon that are still functional. We can't find these stores anywhere. I'm sure they have a phone number, but we cannot find it. Alaska, I'm not surprised because it's very probably hard to...
They haven't gotten the news yet that Blockbuster closed.
So
all the telegraph lines were cut by the big winter storm a couple years back.
They're still selling Independence Day 1.
They still think Sarah Palin's running for vice president. They haven't figured out that was 8 years ago.
And Texas doesn't like to change that much. So, Texas is very ingrained in their Blockbuster ways, probably.
I call Texas Upper Mexico.
And then you have Oregon, which is kind of weird.
Oregon doesn't count for anything.
Yeah, Portland. I'm sure Portland.
Portland kept the Blockbuster open just because they thought it would be funny. No, guys, we're totally just going to go to Blockbuster tonight.
And
they've got beta tapes.
We're not ripping on our Portland, Oregon listeners.
I am, actually.
We love you. We love you. Stick around.
It's all right. I'm sure you're trying to listen to this on a Victrola anyways, so whatever. It'll be fine.
So yeah, man, Blockbuster. That's going to be the show for this episode, and a lot of them are shut down. A lot of new stores have gone into these Blockbuster shops. That the ticket is still visible on the front of the store in a lot of these places, so it still remains in our minds. So let's get into it. This episode is about Blockbuster and video rental places.
Nobody has the movie I want.
Hey, if it's on video, Blockbuster probably has it. I mean, we have over 10,000 videos.
Wow.
I'll watch these fast and have them back tomorrow, I promise.
Relax. At Blockbuster, you can keep your videos for 3 evenings, so take home plenty. And use our 24-hour quick drop.
Do you have any children's videos?
Sure. Blockbuster's America's family video store. We have more kids' videos than any place else. More movies, more nights, more fun.
Blockbuster Video.
Wow, what a difference. Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right! Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
Blockbuster, and if you don't know what Blockbuster, is now, if you are a person that didn't partake going to Blockbuster to get video or video games,
God help you.
Video rental shops. You had DVD by mail services, back in the early 2000s. Streaming when that came about, video on demand, and some theater. And at the peak of their time in 2004, they had 60,000 employees and over 9,000 stores at their peak. And here in 2016, Dish Network, which has, I think they bought the Blockbuster. They maintain that some Blockbuster franchise agreements, there are some stores still remaining, and that's kind of coincides with us calling this 1-800 number that led to us to a Dish Network 1-800 number, customer service line. So Dish still operates some so I'm sure there's some franchise agreements as franchise as a Blockbuster, especially like in Alaska, where, like we said before, still maybe a little behind on the times. It still hasn't gotten there yet. You can sell that Child's Play 1 still. I know that's a hit release.
There hasn't been a vinyl resurgence in Alaska because they're still selling it from the first time.
And we love our Alaskan listeners.
I don't.
We still love you guys.
They're getting this translated by an Eskimo right now. It's fine.
But yeah, man, it was, we use Mark's video rental, and that's why this, is about Blockbuster, but also about video rental. But, early 2000s, late 90s, it was really big.
Yeah.
But usually we would use Mark's to get a VHS. And, I remember, as friends, that sleepover with your friends and your parent, they would go and get a couple of movies at Blockbuster. And, that feeling, I'll never forget that feeling of, renting a movie and getting home, and you had to wait. The person before you was not kind.
Right.
They did not rewind, and you had to put it in. You had to wait 10 minutes for it to rewind, and then you had to fast forward through all that crap previews and all this stuff. You just wanted to get to the feature presentation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the good old times. Now we can just download any movie we want. Legally, of course.
Sure, yeah, on
Definitely.
iTunes. Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, man. It was great to go browse, and you're only allowed hey, we're only getting one movie, right? So all we've got
to decide on it. Everybody has to agree.
Yeah. So you couldn't get that horror flick. You had to get the good romantic comedy because if you're outnumbered by girls.
Right. So what would you, if you I'm putting you on the spot here, if you could give me your top 3 most frequent rentals, because that's the thing, like when you're a kid, you're stupid and you're like, I just want to watch that again. That's great. We just had it for 3 days. Next weekend we're gonna rent it again.
I'm gonna keep it for a day, one more day.
Exactly.
Later. Yeah.
What do you think your top, if you can give me 3, because I can think of 3 off the top of my head.
Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Major League.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, and I want to say Space Jam.
Space Jam.
So yeah, those are the top 3 that I remember. And even like the library, you can get movies out.
Right.
At the library.
Well, yeah, there was that.
So, we went the cheap route. But yeah, those are the 3 movies that I remember that I rented and I wanted to see over and over again. And eventually I think I got Space Jam. I'm for myself because I absolutely love that movie. But yeah, those are the 3 that pop out in my mind. What about you?
So mine are not anywhere. Space Jam sucks pretty bad.
You're the cooler guys.
I know.
Hold on.
But
Space Jam sucks?
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
No, it's a really good movie.
It's not a good
Screw
movie.
you.
Anyways.
I'm done.
So my 3 are not anywhere near as good. Because you had Ghostbusters and Major League, and those are 2 legitimate, fantastic films. I had Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which I probably rented enough times that they should have just given me the tape.
Yeah.
Because that Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is amazing.
Okay.
WrestleMania 6.
Wow. Okay.
We used to do there was like a maybe a year-long period where we would rent a bunch of weird wrestling tapes, and where we would go. Blockbuster didn't really have this great of a selection, so we would go to, it's called Captain Video, which I guess was a franchise, but whatever. And they, like, all the good stuff would always be out. But at least I knew that WrestleMania 6
would still be available.
Would still be there, and it always was. And the reason why I remember that is because there was one point where we rented it, and in the beginning of it, there's a commercial for wrestling merchandise that featured a magazine opening. And for those of you who don't know who this is, I apologize, because you should know who this is. It says, from the pages of WWF magazine, here's Dusty Rhodes, and they have this picture in the magazine of this guy Dusty Rhodes, who probably he should not have been wearing what he was wearing, but he had this look on his face as he was flying out of the magazine into the screen. And I remember my brother and I and a couple of our friends must have watched just the 10 seconds of him flying, like the magazine cover opening, him flying out, probably 100 times that night. And then the one kid hit my brother in the head with a shoe. But so there was those two. Ghostbusters is probably up there, but honestly, it's probably Back to the Future 2.
Okay.
Because I was absolutely obsessed. Honorable mention also goes to the second Ninja Turtles movie. Because we would do...
yes. Yeah, the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
Even the first one. Yeah, the first two. Because we would be, all right, it's Friday night. We're going to get a pizza and a movie, and that's what we do. So I have, sense memories, just fantastic as a concept for humans, because animals I don't think have it. I can distinctly remember the feel of the plastic videotape, like rental videotape box.
Like the VHS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not being able to open it because my hands were greasy from Pizza Hut pizza.
All right.
And I remember the smell of the pizza, and I remember how the box felt trying to open it.
So you're the bastard that, when I would rent a movie and it was really greasy, you're the bastard that made it greasy.
I don't appreciate the implication, Glenn. You can't prove it.
No, I can prove it.
All those places are out of business, and those tape cases are now mucking up landfills.
Oh, God, yeah.
But, so that was it. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure my brother's going to listen to this and be like, you idiot, you forgot this. We watched this more than anything else, and I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what
it was.
If you say the movie, I do remember, but yeah, those were the ones I enjoyed the most, rental spots. But yeah, it's nuts. And I remember, movies like Child's Play, like 2 or 3 when it came out, and I loved horror movies as a kid, even though I get scared to death. But I would. My parents rented Child's Play one night, and I just.
It's a great movie to mess a kid up.
They didn't let me watch it.
Good.
So they went in the basement and watched with my uncle, in my dad's lair, and I sat in the steps and just listened because I loved Child's Play. But that was, renting those kind of movies and just reading the boxes, that was when. The artwork for these VHS boxes, there's a lot of time into them. Now it just seems lazy because who does that now? But I can see two stills on the back of the box from the movie. And Friday the 13th, that was when I was kind of really introduced to Friday the 13th, and I love horror movies now. But looking in the back of the box and seeing Jason's face and then having nightmares for 2 nights. That's because I saw at a movie rental place the face of Jason, which I really shouldn't have been doing as a kid, wandering off. My mom was checking out groceries at Mark's. But it's like stuff like that. You were, that was kind of like your wiki,
Sure.
your live wiki page of browsing different sections and turning the box over, reading it. And this isn't the same as renting the movie, because as a kid you weren't allowed to watch this stuff, but that's how a lot of people were introduced to different movies. You maybe didn't buy the movie, but you were browsing enough to where you kind of, I want to watch this later on, or this or this. It was in your brain even after you saw it, and even though you didn't watch it either.
Right. Well, and that's kind of the, as we were talking about this, it occurred to me that same thing kind of happened with music. Nobody makes cool album covers anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody, DVD covers are pretty basic nowadays. And it's because if you want to know about it, you can just take out your phone and listen to a song or watch the trailer or whatever. So you don't have to be descriptive. You don't have to be creative. You don't have to be anything. And if you think back to some of those, I remember, kind of like you did, looking at the my most vivid memory of that kind of thing is looking at the back of the box for the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And I remember there's a picture of, it's the scene where Nancy's mom is caught on fire in bed. And it's like a shot of that, and it says something about Nancy. If Nancy does something, Nancy won't wake up at all.
Yeah.
And that combined with the front cover, I was terrified of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Now, I think those movies are funnier than a lot of stuff that like comedies that were made.
Me too.
Because they're just ridiculous. But the idea that just a picture on the back of a movie box could be enough that, like, I want to see that now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, they were probably garbage movies.
Yeah.
But you at least had, you know, if you made a bad movie, okay, guys, we gotta have a cool box. We have to have a cool cover. We got to do that because that's how you save your movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Blockbuster was perfect for that because you go in there and you'd be like, I want to watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3. They don't have Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I don't want to watch any of the other ones. Let's just go wander around the horror movie section. And then you just go, well, this looks cool. This is a picture of a guy's face stuck to a frying pan. I bet this will be cool. And then you watch it and you're like, this is terrible. But they got your money.
Yeah, they got your money.
So it's fantastic.
It was, and I want to talk about like the demise of Blockbuster because, Netflix had the DVD, service where you went online, you had like your queue when, all right, this DVD is going to come to the house when I return this one, and you had that, going on, and Blockbuster tried to do that. They had the vending machine, which Redbox is still around, and they still do it.
I just used it a couple days ago.
Yeah, I mean it's still being used heavily, and then you still, Blockbuster tried to do that with their. I mean, why? It seemed like Blockbuster tried the things that are going on now, but they're with Dish TV, they're trying to make a Netflix competitor, which I don't think that's like WWE and TNA. It's not. You're not going to be in the same level of Netflix. They're way ahead of the curve, but it's the demise of Blockbuster, especially them and video rental places. It's Netflix has killed that. Redbox has that market when it comes to vending machine, and I never saw a Blockbuster vending machine before.
There was one across the street from somewhere that I worked a couple of years ago, during that like 6 months where there were Blockbuster.
Imagine like there's like 5 companies with like vending machines for food. Mm-hmm. There was like 3 or 4 of these: Blockbuster, Redbox, and then maybe Netflix. They got in the game. Like imagine that.
Yeah,
and they all have the same movies. I mean, maybe it's good that Blockbuster kind of killed all that because probably a waste of money and one of these companies have to die. But it's these went down a lot, and Blockbuster, even though they have some franchises still out there in remote areas like possibly Painesville, Ohio, it's kind of sad to see that whole aura of going there and seeing something, feeling it, and touching it before you actually, purchased it for 3 days, 3 nights. That it's all about wanting now, me, right now. I want it now, and that kind of whole nostalgia feeling is gone.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too that we're kind of neglecting is, brought it up a little bit in the beginning. Those businesses got a huge shot in the arm from video games.
Yeah.
There was movies, and say what you will about movies, but you're paying $1.25 to rent a movie for 3 days. You go in there and you're like, I want to rent Super Mario 3, and they charge you $5 for 3 days. That game costs $50. So you rent that game 10 times. Guess what? You just paid for that game.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff made them tons of money, which is kind of why it's even more bizarre that the way they ended up dying out and going with the movie rental kiosks, they shouldn't have done that. They should have went with game rental kiosks, because at that point, do the same thing, charge $4 for 3 days, you make your money back.
Yeah.
It's easy. And there's a lot of great memories from that kind of stuff too. I mean, we used to ride during the summer. My brother and I used to ride our bike up to Blockbuster and fight over which game we were going to rent, and usually it would involve me giving him a Charlie horse and then just picking a game out.
You're just too cool.
I was a dick. But it was a lot of fun, and they do that. Blockbuster used to do their yearly video game championship.
Yeah.
Which my brother won one year, which was kind of awesome.
Where at? Good old Painesville, Ohio?
Willoughby Hills.
Oh, Willoughby
actually.
Hills.
Yeah.
A lot of competition up there.
There actually was. I came in, I think, second.
Oh.
Because we were 2 different age groups.
All right.
I came in second. We had to play NBA Jam. NBA Jam and Judge Dredd, I think. But NBA Jam, I remember he and I just would rent NBA Jam and go, okay, we gotta find the sweet spots on the court. Because if you find the sweet spot, you can just hit threes endlessly. And that's what it was. He ended up winning. I mean, they knew us. For a kid to go into a video store and, like, the staff knows you and doesn't actively hate you was kind of cool. They'd be like, hey, did you see that we got in whatever, Spider-Man whatever? No, I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's any good, but we got it in. You should rent it. They don't have to do anything. They're just standing there watching whatever stupid movie they have on the monitors. Yeah.
I want to know, over the years, a single movie costs, what, $15? They rent it, 3 days, $1.50.
Well, see, that's the different. That I got to stop you there. Before, I want to say 90 maybe, when Batman came out.
Yeah.
Videos
My
weren't.
favorite Batman, by the way.
Huh?
My favorite Batman, by the way.
The first one with Nicholson, sure. There weren't. The way videos would come out would be when a video would come out now for a movie, like Deadpool came out in February. It came out on DVD in May. Movie would come out in February. It would be released for rental in June.
Oh yeah, there was a
and
large
then you
gap.
couldn't buy the movie retail wise until probably November or December.
I'm saying the Blockbuster bought it. It has them, but the movie is $15, but they're making so much profit off.
That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
The rental copies of the movies, one copy of, we'll say, Back to the Future 2.
Okay.
Just because I remember this.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2, one copy of it, a rental copy, was $90.
Oh wow! The company had to buy.
They had to buy the videos individually. Yeah, so that's why you'd only see like 2 or 3 copies of a movie, because to have 3 copies of Back to the Future 2, it's $300.
Wow! And then
then think about how many times you have to rent that out.
Yeah, to make profit off it.
Exactly.
I want to know, like, I'm sure there's maybe some nerd has calculated late fees and how much money a company has made, not just Blockbuster, but any, even Redbox, on late fees, people forgetting even a day or two, or just not returning it and being charged the full price. But I want to know, how much money was made off of just late fees.
Yeah, just off of American laziness.
It's what you say, that $90 for the net movie.
Yeah.
If someone never returned that,
sure.
That's $90 out the door. Maybe that's why they're a little bit more, pissed off when they never got their DVD or tape back, because it would cost them an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Even though 5 months later we can buy it for $15.
I mean, I know people that in the past had stuff out long enough that
they could just buy it. Yeah.
No, that the rental place called them and were just like, look, we're just keep it. We're just going to charge you for it. Just keep it.
Yeah. You can't come back here no mo.
Right. Well, because if you think about it, if somebody has $150 in late fees off one movie, they're never going to pay that $150 in late fees ever. Yeah. So what you say is, okay, well, the movie cost us $70. You owe us $70.
Yeah.
You're a lot more. I mean, you're still not going to get $70, but you're a lot more likely to get 70 than 150.
Right. Or you're just never allowed to go back to that store ever again.
There's the old, you're not allowed to rent here anymore.
Oh, you have this movie out and this one. It's $200. But yeah, it's I want to know the amount on late fees. And let us know in the comments if there is a dollar amount in late fees that you have paid. A couple of days, Aunt Louise forgot to return it. Your mom forgot. It was sitting in her purse for a couple of days. She just forgets to return
giant videotape just sitting in her purse.
I'm sure it's happened. And
sure.
Even companies, just like Netflix, who, you stream, you pay a monthly amount. I'm sure some people are paying back then $10 for late fees to pay it off. And
well, Netflix never really had.
Well, I'm saying for
I see what you're saying.
Equivalent
Sure.
for Blockbuster and whatnot. So, but yeah, Blockbuster, the movie rental places, it's Supposedly they're out there, but I know that there's a couple like video, like video store.
Sure, you'll see them every once in a while.
They were like they're ingrained in that community if they still get enough.
Right.
If there's an older generation that they don't have internet, they don't have Netflix, they still want to watch movies. They can go. But I feel like it is a lost art of going to a movie store and physically getting a movie and enjoying it, not just being lazy on having that Netflix. Are you still watching this? Are you still there?
Right.
Pop up over and over.
Well, and the weird thing too is if you think about it, we're comparing Redbox, and Redbox isn't necessarily fair because, Blockbuster, if a movie came out, they had it the day it came out.
Yeah.
Redbox, there's so much other nonsense where they're trying to drive you away from it. Movie companies actively hate Redbox. So, you want to see Batman vs. Superman? Well, guess what? Either you buy it, or you pay $8 to watch it on demand, or you wait 3 months for it to show up at Redbox.
Yeah, and Redbox has a lot of those off the beaten trail, movies that you don't see really promoted or even see in theaters. You see the more direct-to-DVD kinds too.
Sure, and
mix in with the popular ones that are able to get to Redbox. But yeah, you're right. That's why you see a lot of.
Yeah, they have to fill it out with something.
Yeah, the weird. the Michael Manzana movies that go direct to DVD.
When I got something the other day, there were 3 Robert De Niro movies that I had never heard of before.
Oh my goodness!
And I went, but it's Robert De Niro. Yeah. What? Come on, it's you couldn't market it off De Niro. And then I thought of the last couple movies that De Niro made, and I went, yeah, all right, that's probably straight to Redbox.
Yeah, Redbox is doing
that's
well.
Good, but then that's also good for those kinds of movies that Blockbuster isn't around, because if they were, nobody'd ever see that.
Yeah, no one would never see that.
It would just be another movie on the shelf.
Let us know your favorite movie rental experiences or memories.
Yeah, give us some of your favorite rentals.
Yeah,
give us most frequent rentals.
Definitely.
Bonus points for anybody who says Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Bonus points for Ghostbusters.
And you always get bonus points for Ghostbusters.
So this has been Your Parents' Attic. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play Store. We're all over the podcast platforms. You can download it. You can also follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Make sure to subscribe to all our feeds, leave a comment, leave a rating, and more importantly, leave us some ideas for future shows on our Facebook page. Really, really appreciate it. And we will
hear what you guys want to hear us talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And let us
involved.
Let us know your video game rental or movie rental experiences and memories. So we will talk to you guys next week.
Something light bulb, something electric bill, something bed.
Hey, dirtbag. You're a lousy shot. I don't like lousy shots. You wasted a kid. For nothing. Now I think it's time to waste you.